Good afternoon, grinders. This is your MLB SimLabs analysis for Wednesday, April 16th. I'm Jordan Cooper, aka BlenderHD, BlenderHD. If you want to follow me on Twitter, let's see how my voice holds up today. I think it's doing pretty well. So hit that thumbs up button to keep me alive, keep my voice coming back. It's been I've got a little bit of a laryngitis the past week or two. So help me out there by hitting that thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here, and hit the notification bell to always know when we go live. You got to tune in to Grinders Live and Crunch Time later today for all the weather updates and the latest news and the starting lineup changes for tonight's slate. We got 10 games. Oh, it's actually going to be early Grinders Live. It's going to be more like 4:30. You'll see it on YouTube. Don't worry about it. 4:30 crunch time, yeah, because we got like an early. It's like 6:35 p.m. Eastern, so not 7. So don't forget lock. Don't forget lock tonight. But I don't think there's the weather we have to worry about. Roth has all green going forward. I mean, I don't think there'll be anything in the forecast, so I think that's good. Right, we got winds blowing out to right center in New York. We got Philly blowing out a little bit. Everything else, Baltimore. Fairly strong wins, whatever. But I mean, that's all reflected in the projections and that we have here at RotoGrinders, which fuels our SimLabs product, which takes our projections, our ownership. It creates a whole like fake contest, right? For either single entry, small field, large field contests. And we run simulations 10,000 plus times to show you what the highest EV lineups are in comparison to others that you expect to see tonight in your DFS contests on DraftKings. But one thing I do like looking at first is the top MLB stats tools that we have here at RotoGrinders, just to get a sense. We'll talk about pitching in a second. But I like this. There's a decent amount of offense on tonight's slate. I mean, it's not like yesterday where we had a lot of low totals. I mean, the pitching on the slate is not all that great. We have a bunch of gas cans, I think, on today's slate. But top stack we got from a optimal perspective is the Angels against Patrick Corbin. No surprise there. Typically, when I see Patrick Corbin on my screen, I want to play the batters against him. We also have the Dodgers, who are obviously an expensive stack, 13% optimal. The A's, 10% optimal. The Mariners, 8% optimal. Then we get some Giants, Diamondbacks, Red Sox, Nationals. All the way down to, the Rockies are really cheap, but they're like, them and the White Sox are, less than 1% chance to be optimal. I'm assuming in SimLabs, we're going to see a lot of Angels. We're going to see a lot of Mariners. We're going to see some Nationals. I guess we have the A's as underowned. We have the Giants as underowned. And it's quite possible the Angels could be like the most owned stack and still be underowned on this slate. But they'll get you up to date on Grinders Live and Crunch Time when it comes to that, to get the sentiments of what people want to play. But from a pitching standpoint, the thing that stands out is that like the pitching on the slate is like okay, but not like great. And no one's that expensive. So I think you'll be able to afford pretty much any stack you want to play. We got like half the pitchers on the slate project from a mean standpoint somewhere between like 14 and 17-ish points. Aaron Nola, highest raw point projection, but we actually have him as the highest owned pitcher at 30% projected ownership, but optimal rate closer to 10%. So actually we have him as overowned, and for the amount of pitching options we have on this slate, maybe I would avoid Aaron Nola. I'm playing single entry. I'm playing a small field, one lineup tonight. Wednesdays are kind of my hang out with the wife, type of, spend time with the family type of day. So I'm going to play one lineup, and I'm probably going to avoid Aaron Nola if he's overowned. We also have Bobby Miller a little bit overowned. We have him as 11% optimal ownership at 23%. He has like the best matchup on the slate against the Rockies. The only concern with Bobby Miller is pitch count. We have his pitch count median at 83, and obviously he could get there, right? Obviously he could strike out 5 or 6 guys in in just 83 pitches. But obviously less room for error there. So if he ends up being closer to like 25% owned, he's going to be a bit over owned. Other pitchers on the slate in this bucket of like 20% projected owned is like Bryce Miller. We got Robbie Ray. We got Osvaldo Bido. Brandon Fought against them. Because like Bido against the White Sox, Fought against the Marlins. They're just good matchups. But, I mean, these aren't like great pitchers. Then we got like high variance matchup would be Chris Bubik against the Yankees. We have his ownership, or like he's going to come in single digit owned, but we have his optimal rate at about 11 or 12%. So he may be an option from a contrarian standpoint. But remember, just because a guy is like over owned doesn't mean you can't play him. It just means that you may have to get different at your bats, right? You don't want to play all the highest owned players at all the positions, right? You don't want to do that. You also don't want to play all the lowest owned players in all the positions. You don't want to do that. It's always going to be a mix of all three. It's what I talk about in my audio courses at theoryofdfs.com if you want to pick that up, right? I always say the three levers of DFS: projection, correlation, and leverage, right? You get a mix, the proper mix of all three, depending on the contest that you're in, and that's what you're trying to get heuristically. In a single entry contest, you don't have to give up as much projection for correlation and leverage. In a large field contest, you're much more likely to give up more projection because you want to gain leverage over the field. So, for instance, if we think Aaron Nola is going to be super high owned today, I don't think he's going to be super high owned, but let's just say it'd be more incentive to play the Giant stack because, as you know, let's say 50% of the field has Aaron Nola and he gets killed. 50% of the field goes down in the standings in your contest. And what's the negative correlation of that? The Giant stacks start going up. So you gain actually more points over those lineups relatively. So those are the types of concepts I teach in my course, theoryofdfs.com, if you want to pick it up. But I'm going to go in. I'm going to, go to advanced settings. I'm playing single entry. Really, the standard advanced settings in SimLabs are perfectly fine. You don't have to lock in like minimum stack 4 or 5 because the simulations are going to do that for you anyway. But in this case, since I'm playing one lineup in single entry, I don't necessarily care as much about like the secondary correlation as much. I don't mind just optimizing based on projection. Give me a good 5-man stack and just give me the best like projected lineup. But after that, because I'm looking in lineup HQ, our current mean optimal, like if you were playing cash games, that type of lineup is about 105. So I want to like lower the correlation here, maybe up projection weight in the SimLabs rating. Obviously, you always want to keep the simulation weight pretty high, right? So I'm like optimizing for like I don't want to give up 10 points in a 500-man contest, right? 5 points, 7 points. Obviously, I still want to stack, but this is kind of like I'm moving this around just based on obviously the single entry setting here in SimLabs will do a lot of that work for you, but I'm doing a little bit of extra work, and I'm going to make the executive decision to exclude Nola, right? Right, you could do this, so I don't get any Nola lineups, and Bobby Miller, right? I don't mind getting a little bit more contrarian at pitcher today, but it's much more likely if we take a look at the top stacks that I'd rather just play the Angels or the A's are leverage, the Giants are leverage. Well, the Giants are super leverage against Aaron Nola, but like Seattle, it seems like if we take a look at the optimal rates here that we're in a haves and have-nots type of slate where there's a couple of teams that have a significantly high chance of being optimal in your GPPs, and a lot of ones that aren't. I mean, look at all of these. Even like the Yankees. Like the Yankees have at least a 4.38 implied team total, 1.61%. Right? Even like Tampa Bay. Like Tampa Bay is going to be overowned against Sean Newcomb. We have them at 2.9% optimal. They have a nice team total, 4.82. But their owners, they're going to be like one of the top 4 owned stacks on the slate. And their chance of being optimal based on our sims are like a third of like the Mariners, who are going to be about the same owned. So I'd rather play Mariners today. I'd rather play the Angels today, even if they're the highest owned stack in comparison. And especially if I'm not playing Nola or Miller, I think I'm much more likely to get A stacks anyway. So I'm going to put those in. You could always lock and exclude team stacks or whatever, but I'm going to put in, let's take a look at 20 lineups, what they look like as a whole, what their projection is. 105.46 is the mean optimal. Oh, yeah, some of these lineups are like 94, 94. I mean, these are, yeah, these project much lower than I would have expected. Right, here's 196. I mean, it's a Dodgers Angels lineup with Robbie Ray and Nick Martinez. Yeah, these are a bit contrarian. These are quite a bit contrarian. Here's one. It's like 107.81. Okay, I guess our okay. No, that's ownership. 97 projected points. I'm not sure if our projections and the projected points and our projections are aligned. This may be updated a little bit later. That's the thing that I'm seeing here. I'm looking at these numbers and the numbers in lineup HQ, and they don't really match up as far as the projected points are concerned. Let me go to the lower results range. I'm going to take out Nola and Miller, and I'm gonna put in 100 lineups, and then let's see what happens. Because I think I should be able to get like LA, Seattle, Angels, Mariners type stacks with, 2 pitchers that project for 15 points that are at least close. Here's 99. Okay, this is a little bit better. I just had to put on a lot more lineups. 100 gives it more to choose from and keep the results range low. So I don't, it is a 10-game slate. So there's probably, I don't know, 20, 30,000 lineups in here that are very close to each other. So I'm just going to up the range here, up the number of lineups and lower the range, just so I get the ones that are at least closer in projected points. So like 99, this is 97, this is 98, right? I'd be focused more on this. We get some Rockies here. That would be leverage on Bobby Miller. Of course, in the midst of playing an Angel stack, right? Jose Soriano, Robbie Ray, and then you play 3-man Rockies, 4 Angels, and Shohei Ohtani, which you can never go wrong playing Shohei Ohtani. I don't mind this lineup, right? Here's an A's lineup. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, we played Gunnar Henderson as a one-off. No one here is like a stupidly low-owned. Brandon Pfaadt, Osvaldo Bido. Perfectly fine. In the lower 90.11. I mean, these seem like much more. Here's 100. Okay, these are the types of lineups I'm looking for. Right, we got some Rays in here, even though they're going to be over-owned. This one has Bryce Miller, even though he's probably going to be a little bit over-owned. We got the A's in here, right? Tovar is a one-off, 4% owned. Maybe I don't have to be as contrarian as I thought. I was going under the assumption that, okay, don't play Nola, don't play Miller. Probably end up playing a lot of A's, a lot of Angels, I mean. And it doesn't seem like that's the case. It really doesn't. But if we sort this out here, like, look, you could play a Dodger stack with Nick Martinez, and Nick Martinez is technically leverage against the Mariners. The Mariners are going to be owned. And yeah, you get to basically play Betts, Ohtani, Hernandez. I mean, Moniak is for 21K, for 2.1K, he ain't that bad. Just understand, probably does. He may not get more than 2 at bats in the Dodgers lineup when they platoon split him. But I don't mind. I don't necessarily mind this. Yeah, the thing that's noticeable is that maybe the options, from an ownership perspective and a projection perspective, like, are close enough together that maybe we could give up 10. Maybe we could give 10 points of projection, even in single entry contests. Because what is, I mean, if I just look at like what like the optimal, who's in the optimal? right? We get, I'm seeing a lot of Angels. So basically, our optimal is Bido Nola, Raleigh at catcher. We get basically almost a full Angel stack. Rengifo, Davis, Soler, and Ward. And then Caballero at shortstop, Yandy Diaz at first, and Otani in the outfield. And that produces a 105.46 projection. So I guess once you start taking out I guess Nola's producing an extra point in projection at 9K, and Beto. I mean, we were able to play Beto. It's just kind of weird. I'm starting to think that because SimLabs hasn't been updated since this morning, and our projections actually literally just updated. Right before I did this video, that maybe just like these lineups actually project for much higher than they show in SimLabs. But I'll definitely check before lock for that. Only because it's just odd. I mean, I use this tool every day. It's just kind of odd to find very highly rated lineups when I'm weighting projection much higher than normal and seeing lineups that at least display like 10 points lower than I see in lineup HQ. So the data may not be, and the lineup HQ projections may not be visible. The simulations are using them. It's just that may not be adding them up correctly based on what they currently are in SimLabs. So, like, if I ran 100. Let's run 150. And this is for single entry. Because, I mean, a lot of these lineups look like large field lineups. Like, these were in the large field sims. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with them. Just in these single entry sims, especially with a low results range, I'm assuming to see lineups that project for much higher. So, like, here's a Boston stack. Here's a Giants Mariners stack, which I don't mind. I like this. Right? Mariners. So I could go to exposures from a pitching standpoint, getting a lot of Bido and Ray. Bryce Miller, even though Bryce Miller's maybe a little bit overowned, getting a lot more Bryce Miller. But obviously, look, barely getting where Bobby Miller's overowned. Bryce Miller's fine. Right. Bryce Miller, we have a 23% optimal. So I don't mind playing Bryce Miller. That's 2 Millers on today's slate. Bobby Miller overowned. Aaron Nola overowned. We see we're barely getting them. And then team-wise, yeah, just like almost like what I said before. A lot of Angels, Giants, Dodgers, the Mariners, and then Red Sox. Top MLB stacks. We go to the Red Sox, I guess. Middle of the road, 5.78% optimal, around that percentage of owned. So they're about efficiently owned as we think. But like the Giants, again, if Nola's going to be 30% owned, I mean, we have them as the 5th highest rated stack from an optimal perspective. Do you do that in single entry contests? If you want to take the risk, sure, you can. I think I'm much more likely to play an Angel stack or a Mariner stack and maybe sprinkle in some Giants if I'm not playing Nola. But the Giant stacks are coming up as leverage. You're going to get a lot of leverage if Nola's going to be 30% owned. But our sims are that's what our sims are saying. We got some A stacks, we got some Mariner stacks, Dodger stacks. Obviously, we have to spend on 2 cheap pitchers. No, I don't mind. I don't mind these lineups. Right, to play Fought, Bryce Miller. You play 5-man Giants, 2 Mariners, and Sal Perez at catcher. I don't mind this at all. This is a very contrarian lineup, though, especially for single entry. Like the Giants hit Nola, it's almost like the other spots in your lineup don't matter as much. Because if the Giants are going to be like 3% owned in single entry contests, like you're good. They score 8, 10 runs. Like you don't need that many points. You could get a 0 from Randy or Arozarena in this lineup and still win the contest. So I wouldn't be that scared of the Giants. But if Nola pitches well, you're dead. I mean, you have to understand that. Nola pitches well and the Giants score 2 runs. I mean, obviously when you have 5 of them, you're no good. So it's going to be a much higher variance approach in single entry contests. But I think that's a good overview of the slate on SimLabs today. You can get all of our tools, including SimLabs, for an even lower price than our premium combo pro package, where you get everything for all the sports and everything, the whole kit and caboodle. But the combo light package is $29.99. You get SimLabs, you get it for MLB, NBA, NFL, PGA. You get our research tools like Plate IQ, Weather Edge, for baseball, and all of our premium written content and rankings and expert surveys. And that also includes Cheese's $1 million musings. And he writes like 10,000, 15,000 words every weekday for the baseball slates. Get all of that for one low price. Click on the link in the description for more info. But it's free. Hitting that thumb button. I almost got you hear my voice the past 5 minutes. I'm getting there. It's slowly coming back, but it'll come back faster. If you hit that thumbs up button on your way out the door, hit the subscribe button if you're new here, hit the notification bell to know when we go live. Later today, earlier show. Remember, 6:35 p.m. Eastern lock time. So we get an earlier Grinders live at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and then crunch time around 6 p.m. There shouldn't be any weather that you should be concerned about, but you never know. And I'll be back next week for more SimLabs analysis here on RotoGrinders.com.